You clicked because Fiverr just laid off 250 people and says they're going AI first. Yeah, it's true, and it's worse than it sounds. This isn't about a company pivot. Fiverr's been exploiting designers for over a decade, commoditizing logos, training clients to expect $5 work. They've tainted a designer's worth, and now they might be using the work sitting on their platform, portfolios, samples, past projects, to build their own AI tools. In this video, we're breaking down why Fiverr collapsing matters to every designer, even if you haven't touched the platform. But here's the twist. AI isn't the villain in this story. The real threat is much closer to home. And if you miss it, your career could be next. All right. All right, let's get to this, my friend.
What do we got here, Moss?
I've got...
We've had this before.
Woo!
Yeah, boy, that burns the nose. It stings the nose, nostrils.
So because of last week's Scotch letdown, I decided to go and
debacle. It's on
surprise
me.
Sean with a little bit of a
little bit of home.
Lafroig.
Yes,
This is the real.
That's my jam.
This is what you think Scotch is like. You know? When it tastes like an ashtray, you know you got something good. I don't have a lead-in.
Well, you don't.
On today's episode. No. I just want to say that I'm shocked at what I've read on the Saturday.
Yeah. So
what happened?
Just get right into it then.
Yeah. You know, I read an article yesterday, and I'm never on LinkedIn. I should be.
Oh, this was LinkedIn.
So I read the article, but then there was like all these, second, third, fourth articles, and it was, the founder of Fiverr,
right?
And he's going on there giving this big preach on how they're going back to their roots and they're going in the startup zone, and this was such a great romantic time for them, and they missed that, and so they're firing 300 people. 30% of their workforce becoming an AI first company, which fucking again, like there was just so much bullshit in what it's like so romantic.
Yeah, we're going
gonna
back,
go back
to
this.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go fire some people.
Yeah. By the way, by moving forward, we have to cut a whole bunch of people here.
But again, right? And again, it was just so easy. Right? They're saying, and I don't even know how I felt about this. Like, I mean, I know how a lot of our angry designers felt about it. I put a post on of my opinions, my thoughts, why they were doing this. But again, they're going back to their startup days and turning into an AI first company, which the translation, of course, is this is like cost cutting.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Exactly.
Okay, because now they're a public company. They went public like 6 years ago, and but really they're going to be squeezing freelancers even more. But I think that they're going to be doing even worse than squeezing freelancers, and that's what we're going to talk about a little later. Yeah, because I think that it's actually quite devious what they're doing.
Interesting.
I think this is classic, corporate fat cat greedy bastards kind of stuff, right? But I mean, if you look at right from the start though, it's got a history of exploitation.
Yeah, it's basically rooted in that, is it not?
Well, I mean, in theory, yes, because they were one of the first people to take advantage of the global economy, right? They knew that, hey, North Americans, the minimum wage there for a graphic designer, was like $30, $40 an hour. But hey, we can go to these third world countries and pay them 50 cents an hour. And because it was their whole, they never, ever respected designers at all. No. They just figured out how to commoditize designers, right? So it really was, based in exploitation right from the start.
Yeah, and squeezing designers out of, the respect that we command. You know what I mean? Like, by cheaping it or dumbing it down, lowering it down to.
I mean, they
$5
exactly. They were the ones. That was their first thing. Was $5 logos.
Yeah. Why pay an agency? You can get it here,
right?
For $5.
So this whole economy, this whole $5 economy, this gig economy, to that scale, that was all them.
Yeah.
Right. And again, it was taking advantage, and they basically took, creative labor and turned it into like a factory.
Yeah.
Right. And there was which is funny because, a lot of people in our comments, okay, I wasn't sure where the comments were going to go. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? So many people were like, good riddance.
Oh.
Glad to see them go.
Oh.
F them.
Oh.
Never used it. Never will. Glad to. And there was so much anger towards Fiverr, which is interesting because we've had a love-hate relationship with Fiverr. And what I mean by that is, obviously I've never used it for design.
I was just going to say, who uses
No.
it?
We've never used it for design. Okay.
Right.
Obviously, a lot of people do.
They do.
We have used it for, sometimes it's like, I didn't know where to get voiceover people. Like people to do voiceovers and such. But I never paid $5 for one. So I don't understand where that ever came from. But so we would go on there and we would actually find voiceover artists, right? When we were doing a lot of the videos. And this goes back even pre-COVID. That's how we found people. Now, since then, we found better places. And then we started using Upwork and stuff. And so there are better places, but that's how we used it. But, again, it's like, everybody was very against Fiverr and had anger towards it. And they didn't feel bad about what was actually happening, which is kind of shitty in that sense. Because it wasn't so much, the company sucks.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's like they were like, good to see a lot of these designers go and good to see a lot of these people go. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
I think that's kind of sad. Anytime somebody loses a job, it's not good. But,
fair enough.
It's...
But I think it wasn't so much, they cared about the people losing the jobs. What they gave a shit about was, again, it was like Fiverr was like the enemy.
Yeah.
Okay. It changed our industry and for the worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And it made everybody's life, like it exploited freelancers, obviously, right? But then it really did reshape client expectations and it divided clients. Prior to shit like this, like here's the funny thing, okay? Fiverr would mask what people hated about global economy. Okay. There would be this trepidation, like companies, and we know this for a fact, that companies would be like, oh, you're getting people from China or from India to work on stuff. I don't want anybody like that working on my stuff. Yeah. And they hated the idea of that. Yeah. But they would go onto a platform like Fiverr and kind of get around it and feel good. Well, Fiverr is an American company, and I don't know who's doing it. It's Fiverr's doing it. That's what I'm paying Fiverr. That's the whole. So it's like, by doing that, it reshaped expectations where clients would, ultimately would be forced to use North American labor and such.
Yeah. Yeah. And that would probably, I'm assuming that would come up in some, well, I can do this. I can get this done at Fiverr. So what's your pitch? Why are you better than that?
And how many times? Hey, your logo is worth a fucking latte.
Yeah.
Okay. So you see my latte?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pay you what this is fucking worth.
I'll give you this for the logo.
I'll throw one in right now. But it's true. And I think that's what it sucks. Like businesses were starting to be trained, on the whole idea that, you could expect like that whole cheaper, faster, race to the bottom.
Yeah.
It all started with Fiverr.
Yeah.
So, and every designer knows that. Okay. Or at least every, designer with more than 10 years experience knows that, even if not even less than that. So, the funny thing is now it's like that stigma, even now the business has changed. And of course they started offering Fiverr Pro and nothing on Fiverr is $5. It hasn't been, Fiverr hasn't been $5 for probably about 15 years. I swear. I don't think I've ever remembered seeing anything for $5 because again, Initially, we were scared because as an agency, we're like, how the hell can we compete?
How do you do this? But this
right.
Just the name.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So it's like, but the problem is the stigma still stuck. Yeah. Okay. And it devalued logos. It devalued the process. Right. It really made, a lot of businesses who back then had no choice but to go to a graphic designer and, pay $300-400 for something. Right. But, now it's like $300-400 is out of the question. We're going down to $50. Yeah. You want my business? It's $50. And that really sucked, right? But it was that stigma about not caring about the process, just focusing on that end product. Right. So that still sucks. It's like, it didn't just, screw the freelancers on there because God knows, even those freelancers knew that they could be making more. And even those poor freelancers in China and India were probably like, well, I'm paying I'm getting $5 for a logo, but in Canada they charge $5,000. That's a house for me.
Exactly. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, right. Then all of a sudden the house is $500,000, and they realize I'm going back, going back to my country. But but again, it's like it totally fucked not just designers over, fucked the industry over, right? Right. But even more so when we talk about now how it's getting worse and sneakier. I have this whole suspicion about what's really going on, right?
Ooh.
Because, well, and again, this is
Do,
what
we got to get our tinfoil hats out here now. The conspiracy start. Sorry, go ahead.
Goes on to conspiracies. No, but okay, it's okay. So it's one thing that Fiverr, was hiring cheap designers.
Yeah.
Okay. But now they've gone public and said that they're going to an AI first company.
Right.
Well, what the fuck does that mean? Obviously, they have been using AI to trim internal operations.
Mhm.
Okay. And now they just fucking got rid of a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, half the third of the
Because
staff. Yeah.
they created internal shit to replace those people,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
What I suspect that they're doing, and I know they're doing this, okay, is, they don't even need designers anymore, okay?
Yeah.
This is the thing. They just need the work that designers created
Mm.
and the work that, they showcased on their client interactions, because they really push the client interactions. And you're like,
Oh.
no, they wouldn't do that because, Fiverr says the copyright clearly goes to the designer
Okay.
and to the client.
Right.
But that doesn't stop them from using it to train their data.
Okay.
And this is
Okay,
why
there we go.
I
Yeah,
dug
yeah.
deeper into their
Ah.
whole terms of service.
Oh.
Okay, so I fucking went right in there, right? And their terms of service, okay? The terms, and I wrote this down here, right? So verbatim, okay, gives Fiverr broad rights over uploaded content. Okay,
Mm.
so the fine print that people ignore goes even deeper, and it's like, by posting or uploading content to Fiverr, you grant Fiverr broad rights to use this material for promotions and internal purposes. There's another part that says the rights granted may include usage for AI model training, okay, and
Here we go.
platform improvement purposes.
Mhm.
So what the fuck do you think that means? Like, the translation is that, your portfolio, your gig samples, anything that you showcased on there is basically going to be the fuel that they're going to use to train their AI.
Right.
So now, their $5 packages and their Fiverr Pro packages, it's all going to be the Fiverr AI logo generator, the Fiverr, website generator. They're going to be, creating body copy, because everything that you post on there, they're now going to use because they've already claimed the rights.
Yeah.
So they've now fucked their own people over that much more. So now they're cost cutting because they don't even need their internal people.
They don't.
But even more so, they don't even now need designers. And that's sad, dude.
Wow.
That's just, I mean, this is when it just gets rotten. This is business at its worst.
Yes. This is basically the snake eating its tail. Right? Yeah. It's like you're fucking
right.
yourself out of this whole thing, because no one will trust you anymore. Not if they even did before, but
now, like, it was one thing when people would be upset, with Fiverr, undercutting the market and devaluing what we do. Now they're devaluing it even more. And it's like $5 for a logo. Fuck it. We'd rather keep that for ourselves and build an AI app, which is horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And the sad part is they've got so much data that they probably could build a decent AI generator, probably could build decent copy. They have all this data that they could build it on top of. So now this is just pure ethics out the window.
Yeah, gone.
There's no ethics at all in a company like Fiverr doing something like this. Yeah. But this is where it gets even worse. Okay? Conspiracy theories.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
All right, designers, let's cut the bull. How many times have you had a killer website designed only to watch it fall apart because of code or developer telling you no? Or maybe you've held back from web design altogether thinking it's just too complicated and too technical or totally out of your wheelhouse. Either way, it's time for a change. Wix Studio is designed for designers, removing the barriers that limits your designs. Whether you're tired of developers watering down your ideas or too intimidated by the technical side of web, Wix Studio puts the creative power back in your hands. No code required. With a drag and drop interface that feels designer intuitive, plus no code animations and even AI powered tools, you can create fully custom websites that match your vision. Every pixel, every detail. And if you're worried about the learning curve, don't be. Wix Studio is designed to feel as intuitive as your favorite design tools. Some designers here even say more so. That means you can jump right in and focus on what you do best, designing badass, brand-aligned websites that'll take your business to the next level. So whether you've had enough of developers holding you back or you're ready to finally step into web design, check out wixstudio.com and take control. That's wixstudio.com. Go and take back web design for graphic designers.
So going deeper, Fiverr isn't the only one that's doing this, okay? Other platforms that I snuck into, okay, and started digging deeper into it, they're doing the same shit, okay? Upwork retains usage rights, okay, over the profiles, the portfolios that are in it, okay? Upwork, this is supposed to be the company, a higher level version of Fiverr.
Of Fiverr, yeah.
Okay? Canva, they're using all of the stuff, right? They're using anything uploaded into their system to train features unless you explicitly opt out of that, okay?
Can you?
Yeah, you can.
They give you an
At least
option.
you can. They give you an option.
Well, that's cool.
What does it matter?
Oh, yeah, I guess not.
Do you know what I mean? Because how
Yeah.
many people wouldn't?
Yeah, right.
And I think
Nobody
that's only
reads it.
I think that's only content uploaded, not content created in their app. Okay.
Difference.
Adobe stock.
Oh,
Okay. And not just Adobe stock. Half of Adobe stock photo library is all freaking AI generated
now.
images now. Anyway, it's horrible. It's horrible. Adobe's one thing, right? And everybody kind of expects Adobe to be pulling this shit. Okay.
Yeah.
But WordPress.
Oh.
Okay, so this is something that shocked me. Okay, how many people have a WordPress site? They host it on WordPress.org. Well, digging in their service agreement, okay, it's like content published on WordPress.com can and has been scraped for AI training. So plain and simple, okay, that's WordPress. Okay, we're using it as just a hosting platform, and yet they're digging through our websites. Well, not ours. We've never used WordPress.
Yeah, exactly.
Screw you guys. But I mean, again, there's still everybody who's trusted WordPress. They're now scraping that, and it's only a matter of time that they're probably going to have the leading AI web design platform that'll create websites because they've got so much data that they're based on. And again, it's on the terms of service. But again, nobody probably goes that deep into reading this shit. So it's not like, Fiverr's the only one. Okay. It's just, it's like infecting everybody right now.
So Fiverr is probably the first domino, right? That's going to knock everybody else down. And then this we'll all be going down this
AI generator. Right. Yeah. Okay. So here's the question. Okay. So here's something that makes you think, should you be pissed off at AI about this? Should you be like, fuck AI, it's hurting the whole industry?
No, I don't think so. Do you?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think this is people doing this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like we could have AI as a great tool.
Yes.
And still do the human route. Go the human way.
Well, and here's the thing. Everybody is pissed off at AI, right? You hear artists, you hear musicians, everybody's hating
musicians especially.
AI doing this. But you're right. I mean, AI in theory isn't the villain here.
No,
it's just a fucking tool.
It is. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like it is. It's like in theory, and I know it's kind of morbid, but it's like guns.
Yeah.
Guns don't automatically go and kill people around them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's people using them in nefarious ways that are actually hurting people. But the tool itself is it's nothing.
Yeah.
Right. It just sits there.
It is just what it is.
And it does what it's told.
It's the Iron Giant.
It is the Iron Giant.
It's not a gun.
in this situation, AI isn't the villain. It's these platforms like Fiverr, Adobe, Canva. They're the ones who are exploiting
it. Yes.
They're exploiting, and they're like, hey, now we have a way
Yeah.
to collect all this data and do something with it, right? And they're the ones that are the villains here. People should be more pissed off at these organizations, not necessarily at the Midjourneys and the OpenAIs, and stuff, because let's face it, AI has done incredible things just as much as bad. It's helped like science and research, medical research. It gains. There's been so much traction all of a sudden in these fields that it's now saving lives.
Yes.
Let alone what it's doing for research and how. It's just help. Man, I swear, I think the next 1,000 years are going to happen in the next 10 years.
Exactly.
Okay, based on like all the scientific research and development that's going to happen because of this platform.
Yes.
So it's like,
absolutely.
Again, it's not. I think people need to switch their anger from the AI tool itself,
right?
Okay, and put it towards the companies that are weaponizing it a little bit more.
There you go, weaponizing it.
Interestingly enough, though, it's like the mindset that designers have going into these platforms. Okay, so it's not just Fiverrs.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's not just services like that, but also stock photos. Okay, in all fairness, this is why Adobe is now creating their own stuff. So all the photographers who used to rely on, putting stuff into sites like Adobe and Deposit and iStock, right? They're at risk right now. Vector sites that are out there, people who create stuff and they put it on these vector sites.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Yeah.
And any sort of platform or service, even the music sites, the stock photo music sites. Well, soon they're not going to have to pay artists because again, they're going to remove that and just have AI build these and they don't have to pay royalties to this stuff, right? Any sort of website that has some sort of that can be replaced by a formulaic type of approach is at risk in this situation.
Yeah.
And I mean, for the companies themselves, they'll do great.
Oh, they'll do great
because now they don't have to pay.
Yeah, yeah.
The ones who suffer are unfortunately the people who actually put it in there, right? And again, the people who use these sites to actually make a living are going to be the first ones that are going to be. And we've always said that. We've said the designers who do what we do and what we recommend people to do, they have nothing to worry about.
No.
It's the ones who have no process or thin process,
right? And
they're just delivering that end product. They're the ones that are going to suffer. Yeah. And they are.
Yeah.
But there's a fucking trickle effect. Okay. And what I mean by that is, so now you're going to have all these 50,000, Fiverr designers, 100,000. I don't even know, right? Yeah. Well, now they're going to have to hit the market.
Right.
They're going to hit the market and they only know one thing.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
undercut.
all they know.
Yeah.
So they're going to now flood the market. They're going to undercut everybody else out there. And not that they'll take away a ton of work.
No, but
it's a lot of fucking noise.
It is, yeah.
And it's going to create a lot of chaos because now you're going to hear more of this. Hey, I'm not using AI services, but, Raul or, Jade or, Susan. I don't know. Trying to be open here with names. I'm trying to protect myself here, but they're gonna be pointing to these real people that they met, that they talked to on the internet, and hey, it's a real person. It's another freelancer, and they're giving it to me for a third the price that you are. So can you match that price?
Right.
So now we're not going to be competing against these platforms. We're going to be competing against these short-term designers that left these platforms and have saturated the market.
Right.
So it's like going back to freaking 2005 with this whole global economy bullshit that we had to deal with all over again. In situations like this, okay, when you're looking at these apps, okay, whether it's apps like Fiverr, whether it's apps, when you're, and this is where it gets scary, and this is kind of like the lesson that we need to remember as we move forward with this, okay? We sign up for apps all the time. Wave, for us, for our bookkeeping. Okay.
Right.
We sign up for Envato or Vecteezy or, or fucking all these photo sites and shit like that. Right. We sign up for these apps that give us all this convenience and they help us grow our business.
Right.
You've got funnel apps. Okay. We've got e-newsletter apps. Everything that we live and breathe right now, our whole business is all on these online apps.
Yeah.
And they are to help make our lives easier. So it's convenience.
Yep.
Nobody ever thinks of the other side, okay? Who has control of all this convenience. Okay. Nobody ever thinks about that. And that is what happened with Fiverr and all those people. Okay. And this is something that we can't lose sight of, is not necessarily the convenience, but we need to, what's the trade-off? Convenience with control. Because a lot of these apps that we sign up for to help our businesses, help run our businesses, they want control of those apps. They have control. Like, I mean, we sign up, we sign up for these services. Nobody ever reads this shit. Okay. But, you build businesses blindly behind these apps. YouTube, even YouTube, I hate to say it, right? Like there is potential for YouTube to go and create AI generated content based on everything else that's online. Heaven for fucking bit. The benefit to you, the reason why YouTube probably won't is because everything that's uploaded on there is like, they're not paying for the content that's uploaded on there. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
But they do have to split the ad revenue.
Yeah.
Imagine if they can keep all that shit on their own. Right?
Yeah.
That's a whole other world altogether. But, the reality is we are trading convenience for control, and nobody's really thinking about what we're handing over in that control. They're
fucked up.
There has been, so when we started this podcast like 4 years ago, there were podcast apps out there that were, better than the one podcast hosting app that we use. Okay. And it looked like it was going to help promote you and this and that. But in the fine print, they basically owned you. They owned your content. They were going to give you everything. It'd be great when you start off, right? Great to save you money, but they owned the intellectual rights. They owned your brand. They were going to share everything with you. But ultimately, if you ever wanted to leave, you'd have to fucking start over.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of these apps do.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't let you leave. They're easy to bring you in.
Yep.
They give you an attractive price, but they don't make it easy for you to leave and to take what
is yours.
What is yours, what you've built using their app. And this is where designers need to be very careful when they're trading off stuff like this. So again, because nobody ever reads the terms of service, nobody ever does. And the reality is
long.
And not only that,
TLDR.
it's not even in a language that we understand.
Yeah, this is true. It's
right?
legalese. Exactly. Yes.
It is legalese.
It is.
Okay, but here's the beautiful thing. You know what is an expert on legalese? Fucking chat, man. Chat GPT is an expert at this shit.
You fed this into chat.
Well, and that's what you do, right? And that's what I did. I went through.
What a
you think I read Fiverr's, terms of service and Adobe's and WordPress? No, I was just like, fuck it. I'm using chat. I'm going through it.
Wow.
And the thing is, we as designers have the ability to flip, the script here and use chat GPT
for good,
for our advantages.
For our advantages.
So, and again, first thing you got to do. Copy the terms of service.
Copy the whole thing.
Select it all, copy it, or select it in the URL. Okay. Then go to chat.
Yep.
Okay. And then when you're in chat, write a prompt, something like highlight anything in these terms of services that allows the platform to use my creative work, portfolio, uploads, or user information for AI training, marketing, or internal purposes. Also, identify who owns the rights to my work, data, and personal information if I choose to leave or delete my account. Summarize, and here's the key word, okay? Ready? Here's the key phrase.
Okay.
Summarize the risks in plain English. So not even legalese.
Don't just pick out the stuff. Yeah.
Once you do this, okay, the reason why this works, something like this works both ways, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's active. So any active exploitation that's going on, like where they're using your shit right off the bat, okay, you'll know of, because they're going to say it in some sort of fancy legalese way, but also the residual effects if you leave. Okay, you want to make sure that you can
grab your stuff.
Anything you want.
Right.
Invoices, your client list. Some people are building, like funnels with emails and passwords, like or not passwords, but like email addresses, contacts. They're building their sales funnels. and they can't take
And they
that
can't
shit
take
with them if they find a better platform. So this takes care of what's active and then what's residual if you leave thereafter. So again, AI can help us. Okay. It's not just the end, because again, it's just a fucking tool.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It's a great
how
tool.
you use it either makes it friend or foe.
Right.
So again, this is where you will find out quickly that if you're signing up for something, okay, if they're genuinely trying to provide you a service and have your best interests in mind, or if they're trying to screw you long term and use you as the data.
Right.
Okay. And that's the thing, and use you to build their future tools and that's what we don't want to do. Okay. So, and keep in mind, this isn't just like, your work, your portfolio, but it's anything, your user data, your name, your age, your demographics, your clients, the type of clients, even, a lot of these sites even track like, UX, how you're traveling through the site. I mean, I don't really care so much about stuff like that, but I know people that don't want anything tracked. So by using chat in this way, okay, it gives you at least more control going into this. So if you decide to change your mind, you can. And
you can bounce and still have your stuff to.
And again, I get it. One person might not make a difference. But I think if enough people are made more aware that these platforms are using our shit to train their own shit and literally put us out of business, I think then at least it'll give more power to other platforms that are actually out to build stuff for the good, for legit, right? That's the big thing.
Yeah. Wow.
So three things people, designers need to take away, okay? So we need to understand the risks that are associated with any platform online that we sign up for.
Right.
Plain and simple. If it's holding data in any way of yours, okay, know what you're in for. First and foremost, especially, based on what it is that you're what you're using it for. Number two, build control measures. Okay. So, own the work that you're doing, own the data, own your pipeline, make sure you have those controls in place. Either you're downloading them onto a spreadsheet, you're downloading them into your notes, you're keeping them locally or a copy, if it is in the cloud, that's fine. Just off the app. Okay. In that case. Okay. And, lastly, use AI as a fucking shield. Use it as your weapon in this case. Okay. Not just, these platforms' weapons against you, but use it back. Okay. I have seen so many incredible stories of, people using these platforms to go against claims where it's like, Adobe wouldn't release you from their contract and wanted you to pay $700 for. Well, guess what? They would get AI to scrub the user's terms of agreement, figure everything, and be like, no, here you go. I'm released free. And again,
suddenly you're
all of a sudden their terms of service have screwed them over. So again, this is such a powerful tool if you use it right.
I never thought of that.
I know, right?
That's fucking awesome. Yes.
It's like the Green Lantern ring. I'm sorry. Just came back from Comic-Con weekend. Couldn't help it. My mind is still there.
You're forgiven.
I'm still thinking, Marvel and anime. So, I think we need to be a little bit more cognizant. We don't need to cry over the whole fucking Fiverr thing.
I guess no, and it sounds like nobody really cares.
On our side of it, nobody cares.
Exactly.
Really, it was never built for us. It was never for designers. And now it's even clearly
is definitely not now
against.
They have taken that
ever,
far step to the left.
And again, the big thing is we always said that AI was going to kill Fiverr designers. No, Fiverr killed. And I'm sorry for those designers, but we warned you. There was so many signs like don't focus on the bottom price. You made a lot of people's lives miserable. And, now you're going to have to rethink this while you're slinging freaking hot dogs at 7-Eleven, for God's sake. Okay. I think we just have to remember ultimately, after all said and done. Okay. Designers just need to remember what they're trading for convenience. Okay. So it's okay to use these apps online. Absolutely. Our whole world is online. Everything we do is online. Every app. I don't even know any apps that are native anymore. Okay. Everything we do, we use is all online. But just for your own protection, understand what you're trading for that. Okay. I hope you guys got something cool out of this. I hope you just didn't, we didn't sound like two guys ranting the whole time, but literally, make sure you know who owns and controls, what you do online. And again, use AI and use it to help you take control back for yourself. All right. Don't forget about our newsletter, Anger Management for Designers. I didn't even, shout it out at the beginning of this episode. So kind of lost out on that opportunity. So I'm not even going to bother finishing it off. Because I'm sure everybody has already
bounced.
So, you know where to find us. You know who to forward us to. And we love you lots.
Yes.
My name is Massimo.
My name is Sean.
Stay creative.
And stay angry.